Hey YouTube, the Utopian here, got a joke for you. This one fella, he was a comedian, and he was going to go down to a comedians convention in Florida. And he had an extra ticket, and he invited a good friend to go along with him. So these two guys went down to this comedians convention and have a good time. And he said to the other fellow, he said, well, I'm going to go sit in on this seminar here. You want to come along? You want to hear it? And talks a lot about how to be a better comedian. And I think it's kind of interesting. You might like it. The fellow said, okay, I will. So they got there, and they were a little bit early and sitting there, and the crowd was kind of talking amongst themselves, and the speaker hadn't shown up yet. And all of a sudden, just somewhere out of the crowd, somebody stands up and says, "Number 5." And everybody laughed. Just thought that was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. And just laughed and slapping their knees, and they just thought that was so funny. And the new fellow there, he looking a little puzzled, and he asked his friend, he said, well, what's up? He says, how come they laughed at that? All the guy said was number 5. And the fellow said, oh, I forgot to tell you. He said, since we're all comedians, we all know a lot of the same jokes. But there are certain jokes that are always good laugh getters. But since we all know them, to save a little bit of time, we just print those out in our newsletter. And when we come to a convention like this, we have all the jokes in line, and we can just look at the number of the joke and then see if we like it or not. And everybody liked that joke. Said, here's a sheet of paper, and it's got the top 10 jokes on it, and look at number 5 and you see if it was funny. So the guy looked down and he read number 5, and it was pretty funny. He said, yeah. And then he thought to himself, as he read a couple of the others, he thought to himself, well, I can do this comedy stuff. He says, well, look at number 8 here, and that was pretty funny. That was funnier than number 5. He said, I'm just going to stand right up and see if I can be a comedian. So the crowd had calmed down and was kind of quiet. So he all of a sudden stood up and said, number 8. And the crowd just froze. There was nothing. Kind of quiet like it is right now. And everybody turned around and just stared at him, and he got embarrassed, and he slunk down in his seat and tried to pull his collar up and kind of hide. And he asked his friend, he said, hey, what gives? He said, you said every joke on there was a sure laugh getter. And that guy stands up and says number 5, and people fall apart, and then I stand up and say number 8, which was an even funnier joke, and everybody just looks around like I'm crazy. First fellow said, well, that's the way it goes. Some people can tell a joke, some can't. This is the Utopian. I'll see you down the road.